is this a good idea? That's what I'm at. I think this is probably like, hey, should I be doing this? Because this is what I'm thinking. And
I don't travel without mine. I'll be quite honest with you. And I don't let my mom travels a lot, I do not let her or my dad travel without those. No.
so let's go into the why. Because people are going to go, okay, why?
There are two reasons. Two reasons. So we're talking about our glorious super patch, Rob, and I should tell the crowd that I do sit on the medical advisory board. So we do concoct research studies for the companies who is engaged in a fair number of placebo-controlled double-blinded studies. The study they have done on the Defend patch was not placebo-controlled, but more of a provocative test. It was a with or without patch kind of a test.
It was more of like an MOA, right?
Right.
Mechanism of action.
Mechanism of action. So the way these patches are designed is by, number one, taking what is known about the brain's control of a physiologic process. Okay, so like your blood pressure is controlled by a very particular brain pathway. Your immune system and your circulatory system and your blood flow are actually controlled by a known pathway in your brain. Okay. So knowing that, then the research is done on people who struggle with circulatory problems, immunity problems. What does their EEG look like? Is there an EEG deformity in that part of the brain? There should be. And if the answer is yes, okay. So now we're creating. So theoretically, it should be there. Oh my gosh, it is actually there. Then what they do is they create, and by they, I mean Jay Dollywall, the owner of the company, who is the only person who knows how these things are designed, but this is his process. If theoretically it should be there, and then on interrogation of people of symptoms and an EEG, it is actually there, then perfect. He will design a patch that will normalize that part of the brain, that targets that part of the brain to put it into normal mode function, right? So if you have an immunity problem, that part of your brain will be working too hard, working too slow. And this patch puts you right into the green zone in that pathway. Okay. Once he designs the patch, he then takes people who have this particular problem. He does the EEG. He sees the problem, sticks the patch on them, waits a couple minutes, sees the problem go away. Okay. So now, you're attacking the right part of the brain. The last step of that is to take a couple of hundred volunteers, wear this patch. We'll start doing some blood tests and start observing you to see if you have an improvement in XYZ problem. So whether it's the sleep or the pain or the stress or the depression or the balance or the athletic ability, this is how they kind of all got designed. Okay. The Defend patch helps you with blood flow, and it's a very similar pathway as the actual immune response. So like that's all, that lymphatic and blood flow are all kind of triggered by the same part, the central part of your brain. And so that patch normalizes that central part of your brain. Right now, the demonstration mechanism of action that they have is one really of clotting disorder, where a blood smear without the patch will show what we call rouleau formation, where the blood kind of clots together, right?
Yeah.
It's like sluggish,
Sticky. Yeah,
sticky,
sluggish.
sticky, sluggish blood. But in the presence of the patch, all of a sudden, that clogginess goes away. And that's a reproducible finding, which means the brain truly is sending a signal to these cells to slicken up, improve blood flow. Okay. So knowing what I know, especially in the post-COVID vaccine era, where people who took a COVID vaccine, as you and I were both forced to do by virtue of what we do for a living, they're at increased risk for blood clots. So the number one reason to wear that patch would be you've been vaccinated for a disease and left with a permanent clotting disorder, whether you know it or not. So that helps prevent blood clots. Now, when you're sitting on an airplane and trapped, you're at really high risk for blood clots. So this is a way to maybe minimize blood clots without taking aspirin or a blood thinner, right? So there's no medicine.
Yep.
You're just sending a signal from the brain to the blood. No need to clot today. That's
Yep.
we're
off.
We're not doing that today.
We're not clocked today.
We're not clotting today.
And you're doing it in a non-chemical form, right? So we know that, that's why I take the aspirin.
Correct. And since the same pathway is responsible for whether or not you have an irregular immune response to something or subpar immune response to something, taking something that will normalize your immune response, in theory, should improve your immune response. And so there's a lot of people who will use these to prevent the common cold or some other kind of illness, or to improve. I use it in my postoperative patients to try to boost healing without having that hyperinflammatory response some people will get, which will ruin an operation. So too much immunity, hyperimmunity will ruin an operation. So the double-blinded study on that aspect of it, though, has not yet been done. It's one study at a time, but and it's a very new company. But that would be, in my world, what we would do, is looking for immunity in that way.
So the people that are watching this,
yes,
if you want to start somewhere, put it on when you travel.
When you travel. And I wear that thing, and my parents, everyone I know, I make them wear a defend patch when we travel. We already know that it improves the blood flow and the sticky nature of the red blood cells.
And so, like, you think of especially older people. Like when I fly, I wear the compression socks.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you trying to do? You're trying to make sure that all your
circulation. So, but it's not a blood thinner. So I am not saying it's going to prevent a blood clot, because we don't know. We've not done the study. What I do know is that the average person, the red blood cells, when you prick your little blood and put it under a microscope, tend to clump together. It's what blood does. But if you're wearing one of these patches, that little drop of blood does not clump together in that way. So without saying it's a blood thinner, because it's not a blood thinner, it's an improvement of the blood function. So instead of being hypercoagulable, and we all seem to be in a hypercoagulable state, it makes it more normal. The blood still clots like it's supposed to, just under the microscope, it looks more organized. So that, in my opinion, without asking someone to be on a blood thinner, that is a great first step, just like compression socks would be.
Mm-hmm. So try to do all these little things that hopefully add up to being safer when you fly.
Yeah, and I also
not wanting to get sick.
Yeah. I also suggest people take zinc, and I also suggest people use a nicotine patch, actually. I don't travel without a nicotine patch either.
And what does that do for you?
That actually has been shown to prevent the propagation of virus within your body. So this is based on an observation that is at least 115 years old, that when it comes to viral flu pandemics, the one group of people that you would think would be dying off but never show up in the emergency room are the chain smokers. Why?
Nicotine on board.
Because they got the nicotine on board. And as it turns out, nicotine, when you're exposed to nicotine, your body will down-regulate a lot of the little receptors that viruses like to use to enter into your body. So there's fewer receptors when you have nicotine on board. I have never smoked a cigarette ever in my life. I certainly don't.
Or vaped.
I've never done cannabis in any way, shape, or form, despite my last name. I'm just a good girl. I'm a nerdy good girl. I don't drink, smoke, or chew, or hang with those who do, as it used to be said in the South when I was growing up. But having said that, I will wear a nicotine patch there's 2 different occasions in my life. One, when I'm going to be in a prolonged period of time in a crowded space. I'm giving a conference at a conference place where I know a lot of people want to shake my hand and talk to me. I'm going to be on an airplane, a tube of germs, right? Or I'm around a bunch of little kids at a whatever event. And the second time I will wear it because nicotine gives me laser vision. I can see why nicotine is addicting. I feel like I can melt steel with my eyeball gaze. Like I can focus. So if I'm doing a really, really difficult surgical case, I will wear a nicotine patch.
And what dose?
And a focus.
And a focus. What dose do you use for the nicotine patch? Because you're probably
oh gosh, for me it's like maybe I think it's like a 12 milligram. It's a really low dose because I don't smoke. So to me, it's like doesn't matter. I just need enough on board. So it's either a 12 or something like it's one of the middle of the road ones. And
I had one of those lozenges recently.
Yes.
A friend of mine was trying to quit vaping, so it was recommended to.
Yes. And
to do that, and I had one, and I was loopy. It hit me. I was fun.
Wow. If you do a high dose, it can get you if you're not accustomed to smoking. And I felt I have the lozenges also, which I think you have to do more frequently because it's not long acting, and the dose hits you all of a sudden. It kind of gets you like right here. Like it made me. I'm not a fan of if that's what you feel like when you smoke. No, thank you. I just don't want that. But the laser vision, that's cool with me, and that lasts for like 8 hours. I do that in a focus patch, and
because you had this very trickle effect of the nicotine, right? So
it's a very light. It's just a light, but that my focus and a little bit of a peace, and then that's it.
So you have that combo going on at the Super Patch Congress.
To 100%. Right. So that gives me laser-like operative focus. And so that those are the occasions where I will wear nicotine. My defend is in groups and in travel. And then my focus is when I'm at work or I have a task I have to accomplish. And the peace is 24/7 for me.
Yeah. But if you're starting to feel a little run down, or maybe you've been running really hard, work-wise, travel-wise, family-wise, but I'm saying like the defend patch would be,
like, like you've just worked triple doubles or whatever, like you're working a 70-hour work week. The kid comes in with a cold and you had to keep him home from school. Oh my God. Yeah. That would be the time. I would defend patch that all day long. It's just like I would vitamin C and zinc and echinacea and all those kind of things. It's like, I've been exposed to illness, like setup. It's on there. Absolutely.
Yeah. Up the dose of the vitamin C, right?
Yeah.
And slap a patch on. Call it a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
I learned something new tonight about the circulation component of it.
That to me, that was the first reason I started using it.